Most people are not living their lives. They are performing them. They wake up, they scroll, they pretend to be busy, they chase things they were told to want, they fall asleep exhausted from a life that was never really theirs, and they do it again tomorrow. Arthur Schopenhauer saw this 200 years ago. He called it what it was: blind will. The unconscious drive that pulls human beings through life like animals, chasing comfort, avoiding pain, never stopping to ask why. He said, most men live like a clock that is wound up and goes without knowing why. Read that again. A clock, wound up, going, without knowing why. That is not a life. That is a mechanism. And the terrifying thing is, most people will die as a mechanism, wound up by society, by fear, by the need for approval, going and going until they simply stop. But there is another way. And it begins with one of the most uncomfortable truths Schopenhauer ever wrote. The first and most important step toward wisdom is the courage to look at your own life without flinching. Not what you wish it was, not what you tell people it is, what it actually is. That is what this video is about. Not motivation, not hype, not a list of morning habits. This is about the kind of self-mastery that most people are too comfortable or too afraid to ever truly pursue. Schopenhauer believed that the world as most people experience it is not reality. It is representation, a projection, a screen of desires and fears and social programming layered so thick over the truth that most people never see through it at all. He wrote, "The world is my representation. What you see is not what is. What you see is what you want, what you fear, and what you have been conditioned to believe." Think about what that means for your life right now. The reason you have not started the thing you know you should start is that not actually a lack of time. It is a representation, a story, a comfortable illusion that keeps you exactly where you are. Schopenhauer said something that most motivational speakers will never say to you, because it is too honest. He said, the majority of men are not capable of great things, not because they lack talent, but because they lack the will and to subordinate everything else to that one thing. Everything else. Not most things, not the easy things, everything. Your comfort, your need for approval, your fear of looking like you are trying too hard, your attachment to who you were before you decided to change, all of it. Here is where Schopenhauer becomes genuinely dangerous. Not dangerous in the way people mean when they say a philosopher is edgy or provocative. Dangerous in the way that a mirror held up to your face in complete darkness is dangerous. Because when the light comes on, you cannot unsee what you see. His central idea was this: behind everything you think you want, behind the goal, the ambition, the desire for success, there is a blind force he called the will to live. It is irrational. It is relentless. It does not care about your happiness. It does not care about your peace. It simply drives. And most people are enslaved to it without ever knowing it. But Schopenhauer did not stop at the diagnosis. He pointed toward the cure. And the cure is not what you expect. It is not to want more. It is not to hustle harder. It is not to find your why. Solitude is not emptiness. It is the laboratory where your real self is built. The second discipline, suffering as a teacher, not a punishment. Pain is information. Suffering is instruction. The thing that is hard because it is the exact thing that needs to happen. The man who avoids every hard conversation, he never learns how to speak his truth. The man who avoids physical discomfort never learns what his body is actually capable of. The man who avoids financial difficulty never learns that he can survive it and build from it. Every avoided difficulty is a lesson unlearned, and unlearned lessons do not disappear. They accumulate. They come back heavier. They come back with interest. The third discipline: transcend the opinion of others completely. Schopenhauer wrote, "A man who has no inner value to be proud of reaches for the opinion of others like a drowning man reaches for anything floating." Your reputation is not your life. Other people's opinions of you are not your life. They are noise. Expensive, seductive, convincing noise, but noise. The person who has truly mastered themselves and does not need the audience, does not need the validation, does not need to be understood by people who are not willing to do what they do. They simply do what is right, what is hard, what is theirs. The fourth discipline: genius is concentration without compromise. Schopenhauer wrote, "Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see." The world rewards people who go wide. It remembers the ones who went deep. You already know what your deep thing is. You have known for a long time. The question is not what it is. The question is whether you're willing to go all the way into it, past comfort, past comparison, past the point where most people turn back and find out what you are actually capable of. Most people who watch videos like this one will feel something while they are watching. They will feel the pull of it, the recognition, that specific kind of resonance that happens when something true lands. And then they will close the video, and nothing will change. Not because they did not understand it, because understanding is easy. Understanding is comfortable. Understanding asks nothing of you. Action asks everything. Schopenhauer wrote, "The will is the strongest thing in the world, but only when it has been purified of everything it does not truly need." The version of you that changes your life is not the version that understood something watching a video. It is the version that sat alone with the truth long enough for it to become unbearable, not to act. Schopenhauer spent most of his life being ignored. He published his greatest work at 30, and it sold almost nothing. The academic world dismissed him. The public did not know his name for decades. He continued anyway. Not because he was certain of success, not because he had a strategy, because he had looked clearly at the truth as he understood it, and he could not stop. That is what genuine discipline looks like, in its rarest and most complete form. Do not be owned. Not by comfort, not by fear, not by the slow gravity of other people's expectations pulling you back into the shape they need you to be in. Go into your solitude. Sit with the hardest truths about yourself. Choose your suffering deliberately. Build inward before you build outward. And go so deep into the one thing that is truly yours that the surface of the world simply loses its hold on you. That is the discipline that scares people. Not the kind that is loud, not the kind that performs. The quiet, ruthless, unshakable kind. The question is whether you have the courage and to actually live it.